Hey, dear friends. Yeah, be online and welcome to our platform Leaders of Life. This is platform. My name is Ihor Reheva, specialist training coach of John Maxwell team. And on this platform where we are right now, we are build our dreams by experiencing leadership on deeper level, by growing and raising our level of influence. And today with me, I have Jan Robberts. Hi, Jan.
Hi, Ihor. It's an absolute pleasure to be here with you today. So thank you.
Jan is
So thank you.
Jan is from South Africa. He is a values-driven leadership strategist, self-care encourager, international keynote speaker, leadership and speaker coach, and simply passionate about inspiring to lead people worth life that is worth living, life that they deserve. And today we are with Jan, and we are looking forward to add value and to serve you in this interview. Friends, now the whole world is experiencing local and global changes, and these changes are complex in many spheres and senses of human life. Crisis, COVID, man-made disasters, wars, and by the way, one of the most tragic wars of 21st century in Ukraine right now. And it requires understanding the very concept of leadership. What does it mean to be a leader in 21st century? Which qualities should have possessed leader in 21st century? And Jan today gonna share his experience in the I'm like full of Jan for a couple of years, and I see how he is growing, and I see his success in this area, and today he's gonna tell us and share his experience. Thank you, Jan, that you join us today.
Well, I mean, as I said already, it's a real privilege, and I know that. But by the way, we've got an echo. Have you got your phone and your laptop on, or only one? And I know that. But we have two echoes. Your laptop on, or only one? And I know that. Two echoes. I can still hear the delay now. That seems better. Yeah. Can you still hear me?
Yeah, I still hear you. Obviously, oh gosh.
No, that's fine, because I could still hear myself talking a minute after I was done, because it was the echoes. And if you've got, like, I know it on Facebook as well in the different areas, and I know when you've got both of them open, one has got a delay on the other, so then you keep hearing it, and you might not hear it on your side, but the listeners and the viewers might hear it as well. So, but that's perfect. We're in a live show, Ihor. But I mean, I still remember the day that we connected, and this is some years ago, and you were in the Ukraine at the time, and you know, we were on an online platform, if you remember well. And you know, since then we've connected on several occasions, so it's again a pleasure. Now you're in a different country and I'm in a different country, because I was in Scotland at the time. But yeah, it's wonderful to be here, and as you already said, you know, when we look around us now in the challenges that we have in our leadership around the world. Now the challenges have always been there, because even way before all of this last 30 months, Les Brown said many years ago that leadership around the world is failing, and something really what he said as well, which speaks to the both of us, because we're both values-based leadership specialists, because he said leadership is failing because of a total lack of values, and if we haven't seen enough of that, and we keep seeing it, it is worrying. And as you said, you know, what we're going to talk about is Leadership in the 21st century, what does that look like? What does that need to look like? Because after, you know, with all the technology that we've got now, the reach we have, I mean, you're so many thousands of miles away from me, nearly on the other side of the globe, near the top and I'm near the bottom. And for us to be able to connect here and do this already speaks volume. But what about leaders? So we put a leadership program together a little while ago, and that is probably also talks into what needs to happen, and we call it iSchool leadership. And I even do a talk about it, because how effective leaders continually work on themselves, and that's what you try to make people aware of it at the moment. That how can we help and make people aware that yes, there is some form of leadership, but and I'm always inspired by you as well, because I've seen your videos, and I've seen your videos where you bring your family into this as well too, and that's it's all about relationship building as well. You know, so what are some of the things that we will definitely need to build, dare I say, better leaders, or just leaders? But let's give them the benefit of the doubt and say just better leaders, because most of these people at the moment are not leaders. They're following, and they're doing the same thing, and they're not leading their people. And leading their people has it's not that you need to be at the front end of a battle and everybody running after you, because there's different types of leadership. But generally, a real leader has to at least have some feeling for their people, because if you're not people-centered, John, you know that John said, we're both part of the Maxwell leadership team. It's changed its name now, but you know what he said as well. You know, if you're leading and nobody's following, you're merely taking a walk. And there are so many of these people, when they look behind them now, big country leaders, and I'm not going to tell any, because I don't do politics. They're called apolitical. Yes, I know what's going on, but I don't want to get involved in politics. And people said, you should, many years ago. And I said, you know, I will never do that. And the answer I gave him, and it might not, some people might not like it, but the answer I gave him is, I'm too honest. So I will never get into politics. But the thing is, though, you know, we cannot necessarily change what people do by themselves. We see people sometimes ask, and you and me are both in a similar field. We want to impact people's lives, and we want to help them to become better versions of themselves. But we also know that first we need to become better versions of ourselves, because you can't give what you haven't got. And that's the same with leadership. That's the same with personal development. That's the same with love. That's everything. You can't give energy if you haven't got any, you know, and you know, we both have an energy to do all these kind of things. So there is a few things that I would already like to mention very briefly. First is the kind of things that we need, you know, with leadership failing badly, we need, and ICE, it's 3 letters that stand for, because we need to become intentional, compassionate, evolutionary leaders. Now, will that be easy? Probably not. Otherwise, as we know, anything that's easy, anybody can do. But it will certainly be necessary, because you've already mentioned it. You know, there's many people, and you've just come through an ordeal and a half, that you've taken your whole family from your home country to a totally different country as well, just recently. But many people have come through this emotionally draining period, suffering from fear, anxiety, depression, and there's job losses, business closures, and they're all skyrocketing. And of course now, well, we do it, but working online has taken center stage for a long time now. And hybrid meetings becoming more commonplace, even hybrid summits. I've been part of quite a few of them lately. But to stay relevant, what needs to happen is we need to keep looking, we need to stop looking in the rear view mirror, but need to move on with the times. And need to, you know, where is our vision? What are we going to do? And so, because we're people all over the world now from different cultures, becoming part of our organizations and moving around in the world as well, which we've both done. The question is, are you as a leader evolving enough and taking the time to really understand your people so you can become more inclusive? We're talking about, and I mentioned as well, my wife is one of the foremost diversity and inclusion specialists. But what does that inclusion need to be like? Because again, John says in the 5 levels of leadership, most people are not leaders. Most people are a level 1 leader, which is a boss. And I think in the book it mentions, you might know the figure, I know it's 73 or 78% of people who arrive at that first level will never do anything to evolve, to get better. And so where does that leave their leadership? My wife always says in the training room, she says, you know, don't go down to other people's levels, lift them up to your level. But however, what are you lifting them up to? Because if you're not developing, and that's what we're talking about here, if you're not developing, what are you lifting them up to? You might actually drag them down rather than lift them up. They might already be better than you. But the question is, if you're unsure about your leadership, if you're unsure about connecting, building relationships and staying relevant, then it is certainly time for a change. And the question should be, how can you become the leader you are meant to be? And these three key areas are some of them that I briefly want to talk about, because it comes through the power of intentionality, the caring, building of relationships, and the need to constantly evolve and stay relevant. See, and there is three key areas that I want to certainly mention on that. But I mean, I don't know if you've got any input into this or insights that you want to share with us first, because when I get excited about this kind of subject, I can talk. But I mean, so for you, you've seen a lot. You've seen a lot all over the world. You've been part of the Maxwell Leadership Organization. You have led your own businesses, and some of them you closed to move away from an area that you know. So, what are your thoughts?
Jan, I really like your question. What we need to do to be the leader, these good leaders, yeah. And I have one more question for you about the leadership qualities, yeah. I know that leadership, it's not only just one thing, yeah. It's not only one thing, and but what do you think? What are like the main, like the most important leadership qualities? What would you say about that?
Again, an equally good question, if not better. Your questions are better than mine. But well, as you said, you know, when John Maxwell has written more than 120 books about it, and so as many other people have written about it, leadership, like personal development, is so much. Now, if we bring this back first and foremost, because sometimes when we talk about leadership, there's people who would have looked at this and said, oh, that's not for me. You know, and I know that leadership begins with self-leadership, and self-leadership begins with personal development. So that means we are all leaders, not all at the same level. And maybe some people have no intentions or aspirations to become a top-level country or global leader. That doesn't matter. But we can all lead from where we are with what we've got. But if that's all we've got, what are we doing? And it might keep some people happy, but when we really want to become the leader we're all meant to be, what are we going to do? What are some of the things? And I mean, there is three things that I picked out because of this model that I talk about. The first one is know the difference between having good intentions and being intentional. See, as a leader, you need to be intentional every day. And I mean, people say, oh yeah, I've got good intentions. I know, Ihor, you and I, we've also got good intentions. But there is a big difference because the difference between having good intentions and being intentional and leading an intentional life is that when you've got good intentions, you might do something good occasionally. But when you live an intentional life, you do something good continually. And that is very important because as a leader, if you want to become a better leader, that means you need to become a better person first. How is it going to happen? Intentionally, every single day. That means you need to wake up in the morning and start with that intentionality, not intentions. Because you can get up in a good intention, oh, well, I hope, and maybe I'm going to do that today. You go, oh, and you look back at night and nothing's happened. That's
6 a.m. on Vancouver Island is okay?
Pardon?
So right now it's 6 a.m. on Vancouver Island, yeah.
Well, yeah.
Clearly, not.
Yeah, but I mean, it's it isn't not really, I mean, it's really, anybody who watches it, wherever they are, it doesn't really matter where they are, it's what you want to become. And if you want to become something more than you are right now, and I hope everybody wants, because you all matter and you've all got a purpose. And as again, Les Brown sometimes says, as my friend and mentor, he sometimes says that, you know, most people, the richest place, and he has a whole saying for it, but quickly, the richest place is the graveyard, because that's where people take most of their good intentions, their ideas, their songs, their books, their developments that they had in their head, and they never did anything because, yes, they had good intentions. So as a leader, we must become intentional every day and know what we're going to do every day to become a better leader, because this is about ourselves. If we can't lead ourselves, we will never be able to lead a group of people. And the second one is, it's got to take compassion. You know, after what has been happening, still happening, as you know, but what's also been happening in the last 3 years or so, more and more we need to show compassion. My wife is actually, she does talks, and she's writing the book, The Compassionate Leader of Influence. Now there's 2 areas in there, but really, if in last century, it was not quite as important, because most people were bosses rather than leaders, and most people were managers and they didn't lead. But it wasn't really as much to the forefront now. We need to make people more aware of the fact that if we want to lead, we need to build relationships. If we want to build relationship, we need to ask better questions. And if we want to ask better questions, we need to listen better. But we need to become more compassionate. This is more than just having people in a group that you're taken somewhere. No, who are those people? What kind of cultures do they come from? In a culturally diverse groups now, and most countries and most organizations get more and more people from different cultures coming together. We must learn to understand them. We must learn to understand their ways. Yes, it's reciprocal, I know, but we must meet them first. That makes us a leader. How compassionate are we? How much can we understand that somebody who is a Christian has different needs and different habits in their cultures than a Muslim, for example? You know, but understand some of the things. And some of them are very simple, but it can be hugely offensive. But how can we become more compassionate to the people around us, the people we lead, the people we live with, the people we surround ourselves with on a daily basis, at work, at home, as well as our environment? And then the third one I want to mention is, it has got to be, you know, the E of evolving, that we need to evolve ourselves. That's so much more than just upgrading your personal development. See, because as we evolve, we need to consider how we include and impact those people around us. So yes, a lot of this I talk about people-centric, but that's what a leader really is, because again, we both know it, leadership is influence, nothing more, nothing less. And it's not influence over people, because that's what most leaders are showing just now. They don't consider their people, they consider themselves and other stakeholders, if you gotta call them. So we need to show in leadership, we need what is more necessary now, because it's maybe 10, 15 years ago we didn't see it, but we need to become more influential with, and especially with the people in our organization, with the peoples in our country. What do the people in our country want? And if it's not what they want, they can't. I mean, as you and me as kids would have been told as well, no, you can't have everything you want. Want doesn't get. But we're now talking adults here, and it's still the same thing. But people want safety, they want security, they want a job. They don't want wars. They don't want all the uncertainties. They don't want huge increases in energy prices or fuel prices. They don't want all of that. So I hear so many problems. But when does a real leader finally come with a solution that the people that voted him in, or most of them get voted in, not royalty still, but that the people that voted him in can finally say, yes, they're doing something for us. Not for them, they're doing something for the country. And that is something that's why all these kind of people are so much more important now, even than 5 years ago, because people are losing hope. And you know, in the value of hope, I've just did a talk about it in Facebook Live last week as well, because I felt inspired with working with the value. But we need to, again, as leaders, we need to become intentional, because Napoleon Bonaparte said many years ago, leaders are sellers of hope. So if you're watching just now, what are you selling? And how can you sell it is my next question, because the third question is, do you have hope in your heart? Are you hopeful? See, how difficult will it be to inspire other people if you don't have hope in your own heart, if you don't even feel like it anymore, and you say, you know, the world has gone down, there's a lot worse to come. It's not what happens out there. We cannot do an awful lot at the moment and everything around us. I mean, I think I mentioned to Ihor, you as well. People sometimes say, you know, in what we do, how do you change people's lives? I said, whoa. I cannot. None of us really can. I say, I've got enough problem changing the person looking back in the mirror every day. You know, and I can't change, but with the knowledge that you've got as well and the background that you've got as well, Ihor, you are in a brilliant position to inspire people. See, they call it motivational speakers, but that's out to the door a little bit. Yes, people need motivation as well. I mean, I love Les Brown, of course, as my friend, the mentor, and there's other ones like it. And if you really down, go and listen to something motivational or read something motivational, but don't stay down. Respond rather than react for another day. But we can inspire, you can inspire people so well, and you can, and this is what you're building up even in a new area of your life, in a new environment of your life, that you stepped out of a comfort zone and you've gone to a different country, and now you are building a community where you want to inspire people, and we can all inspire people. That needs to be able to give hope to other people, and I know you've got hope in your heart, because I listen to you. You know, so we can inspire. You can inspire people to motivate themselves, because motivation comes from within. So if we can do that, then and if something that you say to the people and you bring us on to help you in that cause, and it's an absolute privilege that we can assist you and be with you on that journey. But if because you just showing to the people that you are trying to inspire and train and lead, that you don't have to do it on your own. And that's why I feel privileged to be here. But if then they go and get something, whether it's you say something, I say something, and I know there is other leaders coming already, like some of the ones in our groups, and I look forward to listen to them too, because I always learn from people. And if it's something that somebody says, I say, this is what's for me. And that's why I also think, you know, with these few things that are hugely necessary, there's many more, but let's connect with people at the heart level again. Let's become more compassionate. Let's start to understand the people before we want to be understood, like Stephen Covey used to say. But let's go out there and reach out. And it says, let's show people there is still hope. Let's show people that as leaders, we know that they still matter, that they know they matter. Because that's what it's about, and that's what you're doing. And that's why, Ihor, man, I'm excited to be the first in your series. I know there's going to be many more. And if anybody's listened to live or later, connect with Ihor. Connect with him and make sure that you find out what he can do for you, what he can do with you, how we can support, guide you to become a better person. Because when we help other people to become better, we become better. You know, and that's really, leadership is not always standing at the top of the parapet or those kind of ideas. Leaders, there's very different groups of leaders, and some of the leaders are in the crowd and they're encouraging people and sometimes even pushing people, but guiding people. Like you are also a coach, so you can coach people to find the answers that's already inside of them. And I think all of us need a coach, because most people are at the moment in a negative state of mind. And sometimes their self-esteem is low, their self-belief is even lower. And how can we get out of that? Is talk to somebody like you. Talk to some people who at least are, they don't have to be that far ahead, because sometimes it's hard to see, I can never be like that. But people who are placed themselves, even though they might be here, but they'll place themselves here and say, come on, let's go, let's walk this journey together. Connect with them.
Jan, thank you. It's brilliant, awesome. I love what you said. Leader, he or she, they have to be first of all intentional. First, the intentionality and understanding the difference between intention and action. Yeah. I think intentionality, it's much more deeper. I think it also includes a mindfulness. Yeah. This is the first one. Second, what you say, compassion. Leaders, they have to be compassionate. And third, I'm learning today. I'm learning from you today. And third one is evolving. And I love what you said about hope. I know, because the hope can be active, or hope can be passive, as Saint Augustine said. Yeah, sometimes we are just sitting and we are waiting and we hope it's gonna be better, or we can make one more step. We can move. So it's so important to raise the level of hope. And I love what you do right now. You help us really to raise our level of awareness and leadership. Brilliant. Jan, and what is going to be your leadership advice? Have you ever received leadership advices?
Oh, you know that. I mean, I've even had it from you. We all receive it from each other as well. And I think, be open, and knowing, it sometimes seems very dark, but knowing that better days will come. But don't rely on others, because again, I'm not sure who said it, but the only way that we can guarantee that our tomorrows will be better if we do something to develop ourselves today. So you said it already. You mentioned in intentionality, you said it, action taking. See, knowledge is not power. I mean, however, you can make notes on this kind of stuff. You can put them on the shelf and do shelf development, which we've all done at some point, instead of self-development. But remember that personal growth is where it's at, and it's personal. So that means that we need to do something to grow every day. Included in that, we need to build a foundation, and I'm talking from both of us as values-based leadership specialists, training people in this program that will change your life, by the way. But we need to build a solid foundation of values. What are your values? What are things that you will never compromise on? And most people can't tell you one thing or another, but we need to build a solid foundation of values, not only in ourselves, but in our youth. And also, the other thing is that we need to take better care of ourselves. That's another three things. They all come together because self-care, values, and personal development is all part of personal development, personal growth. Because how can you do something for other people? And we're in that field that we both want to keep giving to you. But how can we keep giving if we become ill or indeed die? So we need to look after ourselves, but you also need to look after yourselves. That's why I even created a whole self-care series, because I want people to become more aware of that. The one thing we can do is, they say, be the change in your world. What does that mean? That means that we need to become better every day, that little bit. And as we say in the values as well, every time we set a little goal for ourselves, on top of that, eventually it becomes bigger and bigger and bigger. And then you have that amazing effect that you look back and say, hey, you might look back 6 months and say, hey, I'm not where I used to be. I'm also not where I want to be, but where I ought to be. But it says you can look back against, but I'm not where I used to be. And that's never going to happen, because if you've done nothing but complaining over the last 3 years and done nothing, think about what you could have learned about yourself, first and foremost, and how you could have helped other people. Because somebody asked me when I did a talk not so long ago, a leadership talk, and they said, you work with people like John Maxwell, like you do. I work with Les Brown and other people. And I said, so what leaders do inspire you most? And I thought about it. I said, well, of course, there is some of the great leaders in the world, being in South Africa, the Mandelas and the Gandhis and the Martin Luther Kings. But it says, but those they inspire me, but they don't inspire me most. And don't take this lightly when I say next, it's ordinary people doing extraordinary things. In the last 30 months, you've seen them, and no doubt you would have done extraordinary things yourself here. But also, anybody around us that we see that all of a sudden stands up, because that's what leadership is. It's easy to sit down in times of trouble. It's more difficult to stand up. But these people have stood up in their communities. They stood up in their families. They stood up in their companies and their countries and started leading from where they were at. They wanted to give hope to people. They wanted to inspire people. And they said, let's pull together. And they served other people. And that to me inspires the socks off me every time, because that is where real leadership is born. Not there, down there. And there's nothing negative about it, but the people make the difference. Every time when there is something changing in a country, it's usually not a government, it's the people. That's why the government should be very careful of the people and treat them a bit more better and look after them a bit better and give at least lead them to where they want to go, not to where you think they should be going because. So yeah, I mean, again, as you know, I can talk about it plenty, but I think that is some of the things that people should take home.
If you want to lead, you need to grow. I love this advice. Yeah, you need to be better today than you were yesterday. Yeah, you need to grow and develop. I love what you said about motivation before and inspiration. Yeah, for me, it's inspiration. Inspiring is higher than motivation because inspiration, you go through people's mind to touch their heart. Motivation is like upper level. Yeah. Jan, I'm grateful to you for this talk, for this teaching, for this wisdom. And guys, you're listening us right now. You're investing your time, and my advice to you today: connect with Jan Robberts. He is a brilliant leader. He can take you. He has a lot of resources, a lot of experience. He's an experienced leader. He's growing every day. He's very intentional and has high level of hope. And he can take you from this level to that level. He can take you in your personal life or in your business life. He's a great leader, and he can be blessing. He can be blessing. He is blessing already in my life, and he will be blessing in your life too. Connect with him. Jan, do you have any free coaching or?
Well, what I would do in first instance, and first of all, I mean, thank you for those kind words, my dear friend, and you are a dear friend. But also, people, let's not forget, this is the man who started this series. This is the man who's continuing this series. He's bringing his wisdom, because even what he just said, those few words about preferring inspiration, that's huge. That's what so it's not always the length of time people talk; it's what they say when they talk. And that was huge just now. So make sure that you also connect with Ihor Reheva, because, again, he brings wisdom from different countries, from different backgrounds than I do, from different experiences. And that's why, together we are much stronger. And that's why, you need to sign up for this, whether it's on a channel or connect with him on social media as well, and on Facebook. And for me as well. I mean, if you look for me, you can already see the name there, Jan Robberts, Jan Robberts. You can connect with me. You'll find me there on LinkedIn. You find me on Facebook. But connect with me, and if you would like any help on self-care or values that you would like to have some insights in, I've got some free series that I can guide you into. That you can. In the values, I've done 52 values that I talked into. In self-care, I did 44. So, but these are my gift to you, because I'm doing more work with this. But just connect with me and let us know, Ihor as well. Let us know how we can serve you, because it's not me. It's the man himself here sitting there, and he's so kindly given it all away. But no, Ihor is there as well. We are here. We are here both to serve you. So find either of us or both of us, and if you need to find Ihor and you've only got my details, let me know. I'll guide you to Ihor. No problem. I have his details. Each card is marked. He's part of my my inner friend circle, and I really appreciate him. So join us. That's what I'm saying. Connect with us. Find out how we, not me, how we can help and serve you to become the person you are meant to be, the person you deserve.
Thank you, Jan. It was brilliant. I'm glad that you are on this platform. Guys, we are looking forward to see you again. Jan, I also looking forward to see you in the future with your teaching and to bring us some more wisdom into our life. And see you on our platform again.
Yeah, thank you very much. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Take care.
Thank you.